Hey everyone, welcome back to our stomach series. In our previous video, we described the location, function, shape, and the capacity of the stomach. Today, we will show you the presenting parts and the subdivisions of the stomach. And please try to watch the full video because at the end, I'll try to demonstrate the parts and the subdivisions on actual viscera for a clearer understanding. So, without any further ado, let us get started. Let us start with the presenting parts. The presenting parts of the stomach are basically the external features, and they are two ends, two curvatures, and two surfaces. The two ends are the upper end, also known as the cardiac end, which lies above, and the lower end, or the pyloric end, obviously, which lies below. And then we have two curvatures, the greater curvature, or the left border of the stomach, and the lesser curvature, aka the right border of the stomach. And we have two surfaces, the Antero-superior Surface, and behind we have the Postero-inferior Surface. The Antero-superior Surface lies anteriorly. Here we can clearly see the anterior surface in this 3D model, and you can also see the direction of this surface from this angle. The anterior surface lies superiorly, and behind we have the posterior surface, which is directed inferiorly. This is why the posterior surface is also known as the Postero-inferior Surface, and the anterior surface is also known as the Antero-superior Surface. So we got two ends, two curvatures, and two surfaces. Now let us see a little details about the presenting parts. Number one is the cardiac end. The cardiac end, or the upper end of the stomach, joins the lower end of the esophagus, and this cardiac end has an orifice known as the cardiac orifice. Wait, I'm removing the layers so that you can see the cardiac orifice clearly. This is the cardiac orifice here at the cardiac end, and this cardiac orifice lies behind the left 7th costal cartilage. This is the 7th rib, and this is the 7th costal cartilage. If we fade these structures a little, then you will be able to see the orifice behind the 7th costal cartilage. There is another important point. This orifice lies 2.5 cm left from the median plane, and it lies opposite the 11th thoracic vertebra. This is the 11th thoracic vertebra, and this orifice lies at this level. The cardiac orifice is situated about 10 cm deep to the anterior abdominal wall. This is the anterior abdominal wall, and this is the cardiac orifice, and the distance between them is about 10 cm, and it lies about 40 cm away from the incisor teeth. Now the pyloric end, or the lower end. It joins the duodenum, and like the cardiac end, pyloric end also presents an orifice known as the pyloric orifice. So cardiac orifice at the cardiac end and pyloric orifice at the pyloric end. So this is the pyloric orifice, and it opens into the duodenum, and it lies about 1.25 cm away, 1.25 cm right to the median plane at the level of the lower border of the lumbar 1 vertebra. This is the lumbar 1 vertebra, and this orifice lies at the lower border of this vertebra. So that is all about the cardiac end and the pyloric end. Now let us have a look at the curvatures. We have two curvatures, the lesser curvature and the greater curvature. The lesser curvature is concave, you can see, and this is J-shaped, and it forms the right border of the stomach. The most dependent part of this curvature is known as the angular notch, or the incisura angularis. This is incisura angularis, and we will see the importance of this angle later in this video. The lesser curvature provides the attachment to the two layers of the lesser omentum. So this is the lesser omentum, and we can see the two layers of the omentum. So they are attached with the lesser curvature. Then the greater curvature. Greater curvature forms the left border of the stomach, and this is convex. That border was concave, and this border is convex, and it is about 5 times longer than the lesser curvature. It begins at the cardiac notch. We can see the notch here at the cardiac end. This is the cardiac notch, and it is beside the cardiac orifice. So the left border, or the greater curvature, begins from the left side of this cardiac notch. Then it arches upwards and then downwards to the pyloric orifice. Now opposite to the incisura angularis, you can see a bulge with 2 notches on each side of the bulge. We will see the importance of these notches and the bulge later in this video. The greater curvature gives the attachment to the greater omentum. This is a peritoneal fold hanging from this curvature. And also, this curvature gives attachment to the gastrophrenic ligament and gastrosplenic ligament. This is gastrophrenic ligament, the name says it all, the gastrophrenic, that means from the stomach to the diaphragm. And this is gastrosplenic ligament, between the stomach and the spleen, gastrosplenic ligament. Then we have 2 surfaces, the Antero-superior surface and the Postero-inferior surface. Antero-superior surface faces forward and upward, and the Postero-inferior surface faces backward and downward. So that is all about the ends, the curvatures and the surfaces. Now we will describe the subdivisions of the stomach, and we will see how the stomach is divided into different parts. Stomach has 3 parts: fundus, body, and the pylorus. At first you have to draw an imaginary horizontal line from the cardiac notch to the greater curvature. Then the part above this line is known as the fundus of the stomach. Now remember, early in this video I showed you a bulge opposite the incisura angularis, and I also showed you 2 notches on each side of this bulge. We have to draw an imaginary line that is slightly oblique, starting from the incisura angularis to the notch on the left side of the bulge. This line is known as the sulcus terminalis. The portion above the sulcus terminalis is the body of the stomach, and the part below the sulcus terminalis is known as the pylorus of the stomach. So we got the fundus, body, and pylorus. Now from the incisura angularis, we can draw another slightly oblique line to the notch on the right side of the bulge. This line is known as the sulcus intermedius. This sulcus intermedius divides the pylorus into 2 parts. The bulged portion above is known as the pyloric antrum, and the portion below is the pyloric canal. So fundus, body, and pylorus, and the pylorus is again subdivided into 2 parts, the pyloric antrum and the pyloric canal, by the sulcus intermedius. Now let us see these parts on a viscera, a human viscera. We have the cardiac end and the pyloric end. We have 2 surfaces, the Antero-superior surface and the Postero-inferior surface. We also have the greater curvature, lesser curvature, and on the greater curvature we have the cardiac notch just left to the cardiac orifice, and on the lesser curvature we have the incisura angularis, the most dependent part. And opposite the incisura angularis, on the greater curvature, we have a bulged portion with 2 notches on each side. So this is the cardiac notch, this is the incisura angularis, and this is the bulge with 2 notches. To divide this stomach into different parts, firstly we have to draw an imaginary line from the cardiac notch to the greater curvature. So this portion above is known as the fundus of the stomach. Then draw another imaginary, slightly oblique line from the incisura angularis to the notch on the left side of this bulge. This is sulcus terminalis. Now the portion above the sulcus terminalis is known as the body, and below the sulcus terminalis we got the pylorus. Now from the incisura angularis again, we can draw another imaginary, slightly oblique line to the notch on the right side of the bulge, and this imaginary line is known as the sulcus intermedius. Sulcus intermedius is dividing the pylorus into 2 portions, the pyloric antrum, this bulged portion, and we have the pyloric canal. So that is all. We tried to show you the presenting parts and the subdivisions of the stomach. Hope it helped you. We will upload our next video on the different relations of the stomach, including the stomach bed. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, then please give a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos on anatomy and also health related topics. If you have any questions or any topics that you would like us to cover, then drop a comment below. See you next time. Till then, take care and goodbye.